sound, Mayor Morrissey. Councilman Jones, post 1.
I'm here.
Councilman Connor, post 2.
Present.
Councilman Ingram, post 3.
Here.
Councilman Riley, post 4.
Present.
Councilman Rassi, post 5.
Present.
Councilman James, post 6.
I'm here.
Mayor Morrissey.
Mayor.
Sir, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you. And Madam Clerk, just for the record, the unanimous vote is 6. And is Amanda on?
She.
Will you tell her thank you for being here?
Well, I'm sure she's watching.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Jones didn't hear me, but that's all right. Okay.
I heard.
Okay. So I got a couple of proclamations that I'd like to read. And the first one, has to do with Georgia Reads. And whereas literacy is not just an education issue, sorry, folks, but an economic, workforce, and quality of life issue, it is also a predictor of future educational achievement, economic status, and lifelong health and well-being. And whereas in 2023, 61% of Georgia rising fourth graders did not read proficiently, and research shows that children who are proficient readers by the end of third grade are 4 times more likely to graduate from high school than their peers who are not reading on grade level. And whereas the General Assembly recognized the importance of literacy skills in the passage of 2 bills in 2023, SB 211 that created the Georgia Council on Literacy and HB 538 that required a comprehensive education reforms for reading instruction in the science of reading. And whereas understanding the collaborative efforts and strategic partnerships must be undertaken to effectively address literacy issues, the Georgia Municipal Association and its nonprofit organization, Georgia City Solutions, members of the Georgia General Assembly, and football champion, now turned children's author Malcolm Mitchell, partnered with the Georgia Council on Literacy to launch Georgia Reads at the 2024 GMA Annual Convention. Community involvement is essential to literacy improvements, and Georgia Reads will include recognizing 10 community partnerships that have increased literacy in the past 3 to 5 years in Georgia Reads communities. Whereas September 30th, 2024 marks the date when all Georgians are encouraged to create awareness about the importance of reading and encouraging community partnerships to promote future literacy improvements, we can improve Georgia's economic vitality one book at a time. How true. And the next proclamation is the United States of America Constitution Week. September 17, 2024 marks the 237th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas Constitution Week is an American observance to commemorate the adoption, and whereas it is fitting and proper to afford official recognition to this magnificent document, its memorable anniversary and patriotic celebrations which commemorate the occasion, it is important to reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and whereas Constitution Week reminds all Americans to focus on their very important document, reviewing the Constitution, remembering the spirit which embodies it, and educating our children on the importance of the Constitution so that we may be good stewards of our tomorrow. Now, therefore, I, John F. Morrissey, Mayor of the City of St. Mary's, Georgia, do hereby proclaim September 17th through the 23rd, 2024 as Constitution Week. All right. We're going to have a wider dais one in the new city hall, aren't we? Okay. Thank you for your patience. And coming up now, we have a building department new employee presentation from Mr. Lackner.
It's an introduction. Is it the microphone? Is it green? Yes, it's green.
You can,
We'll have an introduction,
you want to turn around so you're at 50-50.
Mayor, council.
Do they know that they have a speech?
Yes, sir. I told them all, just 2 minutes is all they have to talk, and then they can be done.
All right, the mayor's just mean. Can't help himself.
This is Miss Becky. She's the permit tech. This is the young lady that you'll see when you walk in the door and a smiling face. She
Welcome.
directs 95 of the phone calls that come between the building department and the planning department for Miss Jamie and myself. Next to is Colby and Chris. They're the two new building inspectors. They're the guys that have the hands out there. They're the ones that go doing all the inspections. They're also, the three of them are the ones that are doing your cloud permit. They're the ones getting into the new
Excellent.
program.
Thank you
So
very much for that.
Thank you.
Becky has been very instrumental in that, and the two gentlemen are out there with their tablets, taking pictures of passes and failures and moving stuff along, and we are still, I know Mr. Riley, you always ask, are we meeting with the builders? We just met with one builder Friday, and we're meeting with another one Wednesday to just keep moving everything along. And we're hopefully here real soon, got the online payment portion of this done. So, yeah, yes, ma'am, that'll help business license, building permits, sign permits, everything we can think of. So this is your new building department.
Thank you.
And now, Mr. Horton would like to take a moment.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens. We wanted to take an opportunity to recognize another one of our employees. For 27 years, 1 month, 5 days, this young lady has been a fixture in the city of St. Mary's. There's not a time that I've ever seen her. I think I've seen her once when she had a kind of a slight frown on her face, and it's quickly dissipated. She has been a pillar. She's been a rock. She has been an inspiration to any and all new employees or any employees that have ever walked through the door of the St. Mary's Police Department. Miss Mary Tanner, could you come up here, please? Now, the reason I said 25 or 27 years, 5 months, and 1 day or whatever it was, because that's why she thinks she's here. And that's not why she's here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you our Employee of the Year, Miss Mary Tanner. This is gonna hurt, y'all. We can move. You guys smile. Be fair. I don't see it, you always are. And as just something out of our appreciation, if y'all don't know it, Miss Mary goes and works out every single morning. Y'all have a seat. She works out every single morning. She's inspired a lot of people, and she's encouraged a lot of people. And I think more important, she's been my friend for 24 years. But this is in,
Thank you.
for you. There's
Thank
something
you.
else in there too.
Oh no, don't go away. After Mary gives her 25-minute speech, I would like Sergeant Lieutenant Captain, if you would come up with the chief for a picture with us,
He's the
the employee of the year.
assistant
Well, I don't know, what are you calling them today? Are
A
you
lot of names. All of them. Deputy Sergeant,
deputy sergeant?
somebody.
Mary, why don't you just say a few words if you would?
What can I say? I've been in law enforcement for, I guess, a little over 45 years, and 27 of them have been with the St. Mary's Police Department, and I can honestly say that I have enjoyed every minute of it. I love what I do, and it's going to be hard giving it up. But for now, I'm still here and still loving it. Thank you all so much.
Miss Candace, could you come and do a photo?
I'm on the track with this one in the morning, so he know what's coming.
Yeah, we'll be running tomorrow, I promise you.
Chief, did you want to say something?
I do for just a quick second. 26 years ago when I started my career in Kingsland, I heard the name Mary Tanner. So if you want to know something's going on at St. Mary's Police Department, talk to Mary Tanner. Mary Tanner's who runs that police department. March 20th of 2023, I found out Mary Tanner runs that police department. Nothing has changed. And I don't think we could have selected a better employee of the year. There's nobody that doesn't love Miss Mary. She's terrific. We appreciate her.
So
All right.
I'm going to reiterate what the chief said. Miss Mary, if you look at the organizational chart, there's my name, there's hers, but nobody listens to me. They all go to her. So what I found is that there's a calendar on the wall in the front office. That's where they put all their time off and everything else. I'm just supposed to go in there, look at it, and follow that. So Miss Mary does run this police department, and we're blessed to have her. So
Thank you, Captain. All right, let Candace get your photo.
Mayor, remember, I've been trying to get you to move to St. Mary's for a number of years. You wouldn't have but a short drive over here.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Thank you all. Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
Chief, there's big enough that I hide behind.
Started to hassle about them Jaguars.
All right. We should be all so fortunate to have such a great attitude, too. So moving on with the business at hand, there's a board appointments for a new board that's been created, Tax Allocation District Number 3, and for many of you, that district encompasses basically the property behind the hospital all the way over to St. Mary's Road, and a little bit across the road also. And there are 2 seats on an advisory board. So again, my usual plea is if you're interested in any of these boards or authorities, there's a form to fill out, but if you want to contact our city clerks, and both of them would be able to help you if you would like to fill out the form and submit it. And welcome to join the family of dedicated people working to make this city what it is. All right. We have board appointments for the Orange Hall Management Committee and St. Mary's Hospital Authority. And we have a board announcement, term expirations for the Camden County Board of Education, Sex Education and Structural Review Committee, Orange Hall Management Committee, and St. Mary's Library Board. And Madam Clerk, it looks like the board appointments for Camden County Board of Sex Education Instructional Review Committee was repeated. I don't know if they're slightly different or nuanced or not.
You have one beside you, sir.
Okay. Doesn't have my notes on it. Okay. All right. So we do have a report of authorities, boards, and commissions and committees, and Marcia Klecken.
Don't we have any appointment?
Oh, sorry.
Mayor Morrissey, there is a board application, but that particular gentleman I've spoken with, as you know, the Orange Hall has had some openings at different times. He would prefer to wait for the other ones to be appointed. Remember, Orange Hall is one of the boards where you point directly to the seat.
Yeah. So we don't
And
have
he-
anything to do.
Right, he would prefer to wait
Okay.
for
All
those,
right.
yeah.
That's good. So, Marcia, now, welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, well, am I on?
Right on here.
I'm green, can you hear me?
No.
I can hear you. I don't know.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council.
There you are.
Now we.
Okay. You have in your council packet the finance report for July, for period ending July 31st, 2024, which is the first month of fiscal year FY '25. Are there any questions?
Not yet.
Based on where we normally should be, it looks like we're in a good cycle.
Yes, sir.
So I'm fine with where we are.
Okay.
Good. Just
All right.
keeping that graph going up. I'm happy.
Thank you.
All right. All right, council, it's time to set the consent agenda. And, sorry, there is no old business items. There's a new business item for a discussion of tasking of the city manager regarding travel and training. I think that's discussion. Update on stormwater management plan, which is discussion. Update citywide landscaping and mowing, discussion. And now we have emergency plumbing repair for new city hall, senior center, Superior Plumbing.
I'd like to discuss that.
Okay. And we have senior center phase 2 renovations contract change order number 2 with
Discuss.
and then new city hall renovations project demolition coastal construction.
Discuss.
And then we have memorandum of understanding the Renaissance vision, strategic visioning and planning professional services agreement.
Consent.
And then the contract for the copier equipment lease for Main Street.
Consent.
Golden
Consent.
Isles. Did I hear something other than?
No. Consent.
Budget ordinance amendment, general fund, police vehicles.
Consent.
Budget ordinance amendment, general fund, unexpended police canine donations.
Consent.
Consent.
Minor subdivision, final plat request for tax parcel S 3507001.
Consent.
Consent.
And item L has been withdrawn. And then the last item, item M, is to confirm or change and set the fourth quarter town hall and master plan update meeting.
Discuss.
Okay, we're going to discuss that. So, council, double check me. Our consent agenda consists of items G, H, I, J, and K.
Motion to approve consent agenda is read.
Okay, as stated. Thank you, David. All right.
Second.
And second from Mr. Ingram. Thank you very much. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Madam Clerk, that's unanimous.
Yes, sir.
And again, just to repeat, unanimous represents 6 today. Thank you. All right, and now I need approval of the agenda as set. And that's from Mr. Jones. And the second was from Mr. Connor?
Yes, sir.
That's how I heard it? Okay. All right. Any discussion on this part? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? All right, Madam Clerk, that's unanimous.
Yes, sir.
And now we're going to move to granting audience to the public, and I ask that you give your name and address, respect the 5-minute time limit, and this will be on the agenda items on the agenda for today's council meeting. So whoever would like to come up first, and I think we can, I don't know if we need to fix the podium or not.
Mayor, Councilman. Shirley Sessoms, 114 Boston Court.
You might
St.
need
Mary's,
to put your
Georgia.
mic down a little.
Ma'am, there you go. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this right now, but the travel and the training, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Something on that. I wanted to tell you on the travel and the training, I wanted to make sure that y'all understand, and I want y'all to know, I want you all to look at that because it is so, so important. Don't be afraid to invest in training because without knowledge, we'll perish. I want you to understand that. And that, like they say, education is the blueprint for a better world. When you all, and we know that we are competing with 158 other counties for funds and improvement. And when the more you know, the more educated you are, the better chance we have in competing with anything that the state of Georgia may offer us. You can't go in these programs and with AMA. Well, I didn't know. If I had known, so that is why education, training is so important for you all. So when you go represent St. Mary's, we can, as the people here, can say at least we know we sent our best and they knew what they was talking about. I want you all to understand that having worked for the government for almost 30 years, I could tell you education and training was essential for us and me too, as I was in that field of DOD. So please consider that. Don't cheat yourself about trying to not understand what training really brings to the table when you out there competing with 158 other counties. Because they want that dollar just as much as we do. And if you know what you are talking about, and if you know that the policies, the regulations, whatever has changed, and you are up to date on it, you will look so much better, and St. Mary's look better when you go up there and try to request for funds. So if you cheat yourself on your education and on your training, you're cheating St. Mary's and the people here. I just want y'all to know that. And they say, embrace the power of education and you will be shape a future of endless potentials. Just remember that, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. All right. Who's next? Okay, right. How are you?
Mike Wright, 200 Chase Court. I just want to say a couple words about the plumbing issue that they're going to work. I've had the opportunity to spend some time in that building now. It's a great building. You got your money's worth. That's the one weak link. That's an old drainage system underneath that building, and whatever we can do to make that better, we need to do that. So I kind of live it, but it's definitely needed. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. And the work you do, Dan. Yes, sir.
Larry White, 102 Sylvia's Court, St. Mary's. I want to talk about the same thing, St. Mary's Senior Center, item D, emergency plumbing repair. When I read the packet, it looked like they have to reroute the drain line underneath that building so they can get it connected to the new restrooms for this senior center. I would have thought, and I'd like to hear a better explanation of why they missed that. Usually when you're going to put in plumbing in a building, you need to know where the lines run under the building. And I'd like to see a good explanation. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Dave Schmitz, 112 New Hammock Circle up in Shadowlawn. Wanted to talk about item C. I didn't read the packet, so I don't know what y'all are talking about, but it would seem to me, and I have noticed, since you announced the new contract for the mowing of St. Mary's Road and Kings Bay Road, that they've looked better than they have in years. The last couple of weeks excepted, because you can't really mow in the rain in ditches that are full of water. I just wanted to pass that on. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. Yes, sir.
Robert Moore, 509 Westgate Circle. Of course, I'm here for items B and C. I do find item G a bit interesting. You may want to actually come up with a plan with B and C, so that way when you try to brand the city, you can say, we can actually maintain our mowing and our ditches. Come on down to St. Mary's Bill, but we have little ponds on the side of every road. I'm still waiting to see some kind of improvement from the 2018 millage rate increase, which the two key items that I recall were the police radios, the compatible inter-department or inter-agency radios, and public works crews for ditches in the right-of-way. I felt like the money was taken, but we really haven't gotten anything. I know Lieutenant Dent has put in the radios, but as far as if it was done, it wouldn't be on the agenda for mowing and ditches. So I agree with sentiment or some of the points of one of the previous speakers about the travel and training. Yes, there needs to be some training in the travel, but it does kind of smack some of us in the face that there's that expenditure, but we're told that budgeting and hiring people for items B and C, there's struggles there. So to me, it seems like let's focus on the day-to-day housekeeping of the city, and then if we can afford travel on my tax dollars, then you can do so. Thank you.
Who's next? Yes, sir.
Bert Seals, 816 Riverview Drive. I want to talk about this discussion and tasking of city manager regarding travel and training. The young lady came in and spoke a little bit about it, which I'm not too sure where this is going. I always remember, I looked at my mother and my grandmother. Education is the biggest thing that we can have, the best thing for us. And I like you spoke about the proclamation Georgia reads, So, and knowing as my education was very minimal, you know what I mean? And it took a lot to get where I am. And most of it was because of the knowledge I acquired. And I was looking at, I was reading the papers here where it says Woodbine Mayor earns training recognition. And I thought I was with the GMA annual convention in Savannah, and to receive a certificate of recognition, a city official must complete 42 hours of training, including at least 18 hours from the required list and the newly elected officials institute. There's a lot that's going on here, right now, and I tell you what, I would like to see more training. I tell you why. Because I think there's a lot of stuff that's going on in this city here. I come to most of the meetings and I see the back and forth, and there are times when some things it don't hit me right. I'm talking about me. And there's some things that I run along with it. Is there a limit to authorized training, especially safety issues, like the EMTs, the police, city government employees, and authorized, unauthorized activities, i.e., with contracts, small business set aside, rental of city-owned properties? Is city rental property valued appropriately so that taxpayers get money for value? Grants and how is it acquired? Whom do you know to get the ball rolling? I know for a fact that there are city properties that are rental at this city here that is not getting value or money for value. And I'm not too sure, since Mr. Ingram was the one that brought it up, I don't want to say anything right now, because I want to make sure some things that you guys are working on stuff. So it's best not for me to bring it up. I do have all the paperwork to say certain things, but I want to wait and see what Mr. Ingram has to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
Hi. My name's Karen White, 609 Margaret Street. I came to discuss the gate that was put up at the public marina.
Okay.
And I do
I'm
understand.
sorry, you'll have to bring that up at the second granting audience to the public. This is for anything that's on the agenda.
Oh, I thought that was part of it.
Yeah.
No?
No, it's unfortunately, it's not on the agenda, but you're welcome to talk about it after we finish the agenda.
Okay.
Second granting audience to the public. Okay. All right. Thank you all. And we'll go through the agenda. Ma'am, we go through the agenda. Mr. Horton gives his city manager report, and then the second granting the audience to the public is for any other topics or topics from the agenda. All right, just want to be clear so you know why. Thank you. Okay, so there is no old business, and we're going to step down into new business, and the first item of discussion is tasking the city manager regarding travel and training. Chad, you wanted to take this, right?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to discuss controversial topic A. So the reasoning for bringing this up, first and foremost, education is very important. And we want to make sure that everybody has the knowledge, has everything out there that we need to, manage the city effectively. Not taking any personal towards anyone, that's within this budget. This is what I was bringing up. Is it more directed like executive travel training, so it's not affecting like your law enforcement training or anything like that. We do value training for everybody across the board. The only reasoning for bringing this up is just when we were reviewing the travel training budget and expenditures, it just seems that there's room for improvement just to be a little more fiscally responsible, because that's also very important to be fiscally responsible. I'm not suggesting we tell anybody they can't get all the training and travel they want. What I am going to suggest is tasking the city manager with just updating our policy to possibly put maybe, a reasonable number that each person has individual, individual discretion to spend on training and travel. But after we hit that threshold, we've just kind of had a slush fund of training and travel. Nobody puts a stop. We go over budget. It hasn't, we don't really have a policy, or hasn't been being enforced. And we did go a little over budget, and, we have neighboring similar sized cities that we might have spent 4 times what they did. So it just seems that we can be, just an opportunity to be a little more fiscally responsible. And I'm not suggesting a hard stop, but what I am suggesting is a number that's a reasonable number that we put into a policy. And if anybody needs to go over that number, we're not saying no. At least I don't think we should say no. I just think that we should come together as a group and just determine if that is something that's going to be beneficial to spend taxpayer dollars on to continue to, send that individual to another training or travel or whatever event that is. And nothing may change except for just everybody agrees on it. But we may get together as a group and review and say, hey, no, that's not really beneficial to the city. And it may or may not be. And there is lots of beneficial items that we go to when we go to conferences and different trainings that are held by GMA and other organizations. They're very valuable. But it's just making a policy that just kind of helps us, get a better grasp on it to make sure that we are, being fiscally responsible with the citizens' taxpayer dollars. And that was pretty much the reasoning behind it.
Okay, do you want to, can we make it a tasking, or do we need a motion, Madam Clerk? What would you?
It will be up, I'm sorry, sir. It would be up to council as a whole, what they'd like to do.
You want to do a motion?
Well,
Before,
yep.
yeah, before you do that, I want to speak on travel and training. First of all, raise your hand if you remember the fact that we voted on a contract for our municipal judge. How many voted on that contract? We had that a couple, like 2 months ago, we voted on the contract. How many have gone to the training so that we understand what's supposed to be in that contract? Well, so training, and first of all, the travel is a piece that goes along with the training and it's separate. The training benefits every single person that's sitting here. So whether it's Mr. Jones, Mr. Connor, Mr. Ingram, the mayor, or anybody else on this dais that goes to training, that training is not just for that individual. The training is for everyone, so that when we're voting on items that someone else doesn't have the training on, we can answer questions around those. So I think we definitely need to have a budget, but I think the first thing we need to have is a policy around who goes to training and which trainings they go to. Because I really believe that it's not a matter of one individual going to training or taking advantage of it. It's a matter of I go to training so that I can make sure when I sit and make a vote on something that I'm understanding exactly what we're doing. So I believe that everyone should be going to training. Everyone should be going to training. I'll leave it there.
I'd like to say a few words about the training. Several years ago, I've been trying to tell the citizens and the board here that there's a lot of money out there that we can get called grant money. And it's been up to us for us to apply for this grant money. And I had a grant writer that I met at one of these training centers, conferences. I sent her to talk to our city manager there, and she started working for us. And she obtained something like $3,800,000.
3.8.
$3.8 million in free money for the city of St. Mary's. Okay, that wouldn't have been possible had I not done some networking during these training periods. I find out what's going on in other cities and in other counties. As a matter of fact, some of the training that I have received, I have been called to be an adjudicator between the cities and the counties when they have problems, land disputes or whatever. And they'll pay for this, the travel for this, but had I not had the training, I never would have been a part of this. And who knows, there may be a situation that come up between Camden County and the city of St. Mary's. I'd like to know everything there is that I can know about what's going on. And these laws and things, they change daily. With your fire department, with your police department, you can't go to a training and say, I'm certified and I don't need any more training. Because next year, they'll come up with new policies, new procedures, new ways of doing things. And like I said, I don't think that you should go to everything they offer, but things that you think we need here in St. Mary's, you should apply for it. There are people on the board that here now that says, I don't need no training. I'm not going to any training. But when it comes down to making rational decisions about some of the things that's going on in the immediate area, they wouldn't have a clue. We have a House Bill 581 that's coming up our governor just signed it the other day. It's coming up. How many people on this board understand and know what House Bill 581 is about?
Know about it.
Okay.
Turn
All right. There's a House Bill 404. The people at Cumberland Oaks were raising Cain about the water. I understand that we all have flooding problems today. But the biggest problem that they have, or the biggest problem that confronts them, is inside the buildings. Have y'all decided, anybody on this board went inside these buildings to see how nasty they are? I wouldn't let my dog live in some of these apartment complexes. There's a House Bill 404. I would suggest that Ms. Stein, and maybe the city manager or whoever he want to appoint, get involved in this so we can find out what we can do to make life better for these people. These are not the people that's going to be coming here talking about ditches, but they live in deplorable conditions. And with the proper training, and we can alleviate the problems that we have for these people. I'm not saying that we should have a carte blanche to attend training sessions, but if you think it's important to be there, I think you need to be there. One of the things that happened, and I don't know if it's been done here in St. Mary's, but and I'm not trying to help or hurt anybody, but Lisa is our District 12 president. She finds out about laws and projects and problems and things way before anybody else does. It is something that can help us in the future. It's always good to be able to have an open door with the governor or with the people in Atlanta that can help bring funds or keep things going in a positive way in St. Mary's. So, I think this is a petty thing. I don't know whether it's politics that's causing it, but this should never even come about. And I don't want to embarrass anybody by saying certain things, but some people need training before they even bring up certain things.
I had a couple comments. Okay. All right, so Dave, you want to speak now?
I just want to put a couple comments with respect to training. I can think directly of somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million that came in here for multi-use pass directly as a result of the members in the council and in the city that have been up to Atlanta several times on trips to interact with the folks up in GDOT. I was going to say DOT, but it's GDOT. And also just the contacts and things like that. The committee that put that stuff together collected over 35 letters of support for that. And it wasn't people from just St. Mary's. It was people from across the state that we're networked with. So from that standpoint, training and the travel is very important. And also, I strongly agree that training is very much a part of how we exist here and how we learn new things and are able to explore ideas as well as venues that are made possible to us through these training programs that have been put together. So I'm a strong advocate of training. In fact, Deborah will tell you I've been a pain sometimes in trying to get training that I haven't had. And, it's how important I think it is. Do we need to control it and make sure we're not doing unnecessary stuff? We do in some shape, form, or manner, but I'm concerned with if we take something like training and build a budget and then start trying to do something that we haven't been before, and it's going to load up another section, especially Deborah, because she'll have to keep track of these people and how we manage that budget. And I don't want our people to get distracted, so as we look at this and we task the manager, I think we need to keep that in mind, that that's not the goal of this. I think not wasting dollars is probably the goal of this, and I would say that's probably it. And we always should be looking at that, so I have no problem with that. It's just how you put that program together and the depth that you do to try to put some controls on something that could result in us being a little bit more frugal and saving dollars and being able to spend it in the right places. So that's my 2 cents.
And Mayor, I forgot to say, I have no problem with letting Robbie be in the loop as far as our training and travel is concerned. I'd welcome him because he needs to be aware of where we're going and what we're doing and how we're doing it. My only problem is I was elected by the people to be the best councilman that I can be, not Robbie. And if I think that there's something out there that I need to go to make myself more presentable or better for the city of St. Mary's, I should be able to do it.
Okay, so, yes, sir.
I would like to say one more thing here. First, I do agree. Excuse me. First, I do agree with everything everybody said. I mean, I think I let off with that I do agree that training and travel is very valuable, and it can be valuable to the city. I mean, it is valuable to the city, not can be, it is. That said, I still firmly stand by that, we should have some more measures in policy just to make sure that, we're not overspending. I didn't take... I haven't broke down the numbers, and I didn't intend to, but as things get, kind of thrown out, in my direction, we have 2 members on council spend over $25,000 in training and travel. The city next door, their total city and mayor spent just over 12. So, it's just something that I feel that we could do a little better on, to be a little more fiscally responsible and to see if we are truly getting that much value in what we're sending, our elected officials off to do. That's the only thing that, I'm addressing here, and it's not, I didn't come here to make any personal attacks, didn't come here to say anybody's done anything wrong, because they haven't. But I am just saying that I feel that we should be a little more responsible with the taxpayer dollars. That's what we're here for.
I have one more.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry. So first of all, let's talk about our training and travel budget. So our budget is actually, for travel, is set by the council. I'm sorry. And we actually, our city clerk, based off of the type of training and travel that we need, will typically give us a recommended amount. And so for fiscal year 2024, we actually did not take her recommendation and voted for less than the amount that she actually recommended. And we ended up being about $1,000 over or under, I believe. So it was fiscal year, it was $46,595. She recommended $45,000. And we just went over by about $1,000. And so her recommendations are usually based on the amount of travel that she has known us to do and the type of training that we need based off of the city needs. So our travel travel is going to be always different for us because we have to go so far in order to get the training. And the training was pretty much right on. So we pretty much hit our goal for training. We utilized 19,243, and we had budgeted 18,500. So we were not far off on the actual training. So again, travel is separate than training, so these are two separate numbers. The other thing is,
you use the city of near us is using only so much money. That city near us doesn't have any water. We got a nice park down there, and we have needs and desires and things that the city of Kingsland don't have. If you check the Brunswick, their travel is 4 times that of ours. They have water. You can't put apples and oranges together. Kingsland have one thing. They have a 95, and they have a piece of property, pieces of property that they can develop. We have things surrounding water that's going to make things a whole lot different from us. We need to start working on grants and things that's going to help us in the immediate area when it comes to water.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead, Mayor.
What I was hoping for some guidance here, where we started. And anybody else that hasn't spoken want to speak?
Yeah, I'd like to. I really share Chad's concern. Just being smart about how we spend money. We have to do that in our house. We have to manage our budgets. And I think that if we just take a step back, assess the situation, and a solution will present itself. And there might be things that our city manager could help us out with to look for things that we can help at the infrastructure of our city. And, I really believe wholeheartedly that if we approach this right and think about it, and I've got one training to do with GMA, and I have a certificate of excellence, but I'm waiting for that training. Unless Robbie tells me that, Alan, I think you ought to go to this training. That would probably help our city out, because my skill set is different than y'all's. My talent is different than y'all's. So I'm from the public works side. I work with the Navy on base on the public works side. So I'm always looking for things to make things better. And so if there's things that we can do to improve our city for the long haul, I'm for it. But if we're just taking some classes that I have taken have been a complete waste of my time. And I'm not making fun of all of them. I'm saying most of them are good, but some of them are not really worth my time. And so just think about the classes that you're taking and lean on Robbie, because Robbie's in the day-to-day operation stuff. We're not.
You good? Mr. Connor, you didn't say anything. Do you want to weigh in any way?
I don't have anything to say.
Okay. All right. So let me go back to, let me see if I can encapsulate what we want to do. I think it should probably have a little more form to it than a tasking, but it needs to be broad enough, I think, for people to be able to weigh in on it. So if there were a motion to have the city manager come back with recommendations about the budgeting process and the equity of the spend by the city council members, so that if there are training and travel requirements based on the positions that the council have in their path for understanding what they need to do, what they need to be aware of. So reaching for some thought process, but basically I'd like maybe a motion to say, ask the city manager to look at this, the training and travel process and the budgeting process, and maybe look to see how that should be managed, and what the dollar, if the dollar amounts make sense. And if you'd like to weigh in, Mr. Horton, I don't mean to create something that's turns into a, a black hole of work either. So if you want to form a motion along those lines of or whatever you want to do, we'll see whether or not council wants to approve it or not.
Okay.
You okay with that?
Sure.
Okay.
So I would like to make a motion that we do task Robbie to come back with information and a little research on the training and travel dollars, and research a few, research similar sized cities and make sure we're in line, and, what works for St. Mary's. I would like for Robbie to bring us a little presentation and try to draft a policy that just is updated, that doesn't kill anybody's travel and training desires, but creates an individual expenditure limit, and then a little oversight where we discuss as a group if we need to continue further in that fiscal year.
Okay.
Is that close?
Yeah, I sometimes just struggle to make motions.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I knew what I was going to say at first, then I was trying to word it differently because of what you just said.
Yeah.
As
a
I went in a circle there.
As a victim of segues, I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
All right.
So did that make sense?
That's that motion. Do we want to make a second?
Is there any discussion? Is there discussion from the motion?
There's no second
No, we
yet.
got to have a second
Okay.
to discuss it.
I'll second the discussion.
All right, so we have a second for discussion from Mr. Riley, and the motion was from Mr. England. All right, so additional comments?
Okay, I'll start with the additional comments. First thing is, St. Mary's is very unique in every way. We're not a big city, but we have one of the, the only submarine base on the East Coast here. That makes us a little bit different. We have water. That makes us a little bit different. And some of the things that Robbie may deem necessary for the citizens of St. Mary's may be completely different from mine. I know that we all have the best interests of St. Mary's, but we all see St. Mary's in a different way. I was born and raised here, and I want to keep the small town atmosphere, but I want to make sure that we grow enough so that we can pay the bills. I want to make sure that the people that's been here for their entire life not kicked out because of high taxation. So, we all have our best interest for St. Mary's, but we got to make sure that we do things in the right way. And my thing is, I respect Robbie and what he does, but I didn't get elected because I like Robbie's ways. I put him in that position as city manager because I like his ways. But I have to give an individual how should I say it? I have to be look at these people in St. Mary's as an individual, not as someone that Rob is telling what to do, or someone that the mayor is telling what to do, or someone that even Steve is telling what to do. I was elected by the people, and a lot of the training that I will do, and a lot of the training that I am getting, is for the entire city. And while I'm at these trainings, I do a lot of networking. The networking that I did caused us to get this grant writer, which, I pray that we get another one pretty soon, because there's a lot of federal money out there, and we have to make sure that we go after every dollar. And you're looking at, say, $60,000 a year travel, and getting $1 million worth of free federal money. Does it add up? I mean, we need to fight. We need to throw our lines at bigger fish, and not small things like this. And I know you're new, so you have an opinion.
Could I make a suggestion here on, wait, I'm sorry, we're in the middle of discussion and a motion, sorry.
Couple points I
I
wanted to
lost
make.
it, okay.
Yeah.
So who's next? Anybody?
I'll go next. In my mind, if we do develop an instruction that is adopted by the council, it should be rather brief, and we shouldn't make it onerous, because we are a city that has a lot of needs, a lot of different things, but it can be built in such a way that we recognize what Artie is saying at that end, and I think Lisa's saying at this end. We've got to be able to recognize the fact that we're pretty fortunate to have somebody that's on the region council, and actually on some of the state council, and that gets us a lot of information, a lot of prep that we do. So that has to be built into whatever we put together. But yet, being responsible stewards, I do believe we need to have something that says this is what normally should be spent in training, keep it general enough so that the people that are pursuing this training to get the degrees or certificates that they offer up there to show that they've taken an interest in getting trained, so they can figure out those different things and meet these different people that can help them in gaining things that'll help the city. We ought to be doing that. So, so my plea, and what I would ask for in this tasking, is that we make sure that the city manager understands we're not looking for a document that's going to tie people in knots and take up their time keeping track of everybody that's trying to do the training, but yet show that we're providing sufficient oversight to keep unnecessary travel from being taken in the city. I would not make it with the whole bunch of things that you have to consider, and this person can spend that much and this person can spend this much. If you got one doing this, the other one shouldn't be. I mean, it gets pretty onerous, and I think all of you that attended the session prior to this one can see that we're pretty busy, and that's in one section of the city. That's happening. If you listen to our community development director, she'll say it's happening everywhere in the city right now. So we got a lot of things that we got to pay attention to, and I don't want to get wrapped up too much in trying to do something that we should do, but we should be able to do it in a way that's efficient for the people that are doing it, and effective for us as a city to make sure that we're taking a look at the travel, maybe a little closer than we have. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Anybody next?
Yep, I'm going to agree with everything that Mr. Riley said, and that what I would add to that is, I said it earlier, and I'm just going to repeat it again, that we have a budget process, and we had a budget amount that was recommended by our city clerk, and we actually adopted a different budgeted amount. And I think if we stick with the current process that we have, and instead of modeling our training program after another city, we need to model our training program based on the needs of our current city. Amen. And we have 7 or 8 different major projects. And I think that when we make decisions, we need to be prepared. We need to be educated to make the decisions, because we're not just making decisions for today, we're making decisions that some of those things that we won't even be able to experience. So I'm just going to say, keep the budget process the same, and if we need to put some parameters around the training, do that, but we don't need to model it after another city. Our training should be based off of the needs of our city, and we've got a lot going on right now. So we need to make sure that we're focused on what's best for our citizens and for our city. That's it.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. You want to go?
Hey, I just want to say something short. I've sat here and I've listened to everybody here, just like you've listened to everybody here as well. And, training is very, very important, but having a budget on what we do each and every year is probably not a bad idea at all. And if something were to come up that seems like it's very, very, it's imperative that we need to go to, then let's cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
If we need to do that training, let's cross the bridge when we get there. But there has to be some limit on how much money we're spending within the city. And I think that's the biggest thing. And, I may be going to more things in the future because I'm retired and I can be able to do those things now. But, training does help. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. I go to the Savannah thing every year, and there's a lot of good training going on up there. But, we need to have a limit, and we need to look at it when we reach that limit and say, hey, is this something that we really need to do at this point in time? Because we have to have something to be accountable with the city for at the end of the day. I mean, we can't spend all kinds of money, but on the other hand, training does help. Thank y'all so very much.
I'll make a closing discussion remark. First, I respect everybody here. I do. I'll reiterate a third time that, if there is a need for, if we do come up with a policy that gives individual discretion that a need for the city, but then after a certain threshold, we decide as a council. Like Councilman Jones stated, he doesn't think that Robbie's vision for the city might not be his. And he's right. And this policy, just because Robbie's being asked to task a policy, he's not the one being tasked to still vote on it. If we do if someone, has a lot of training things in that fiscal year that they want to do above and beyond what our budget is, we're not saying you can't do it. We're just saying that we're going to decide as a council, because just like Councilman Jones doesn't have the same beliefs as Robbie, we up here who are representatives of constituents, like everybody has different ideas, and it actually gets more people involved to make the right decision for the city than just one person. So if we leave things status quo with a large budget that we have, we may start spending money, unnecessary money, on certain things that might not be the best fit for St. Mary's that one person decides is right. But as a group, we take a step back and we actually make better decisions with our money and what training and time we do spend. So that was it.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so are we ready for a vote?
Yes.
All right. So we have
Can you restate that
motion?
motion?
We have a long rambled motion.
And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What was that?
Mr. Rassi and,
Can you say that again, please, John?
yeah, you want me to repeat his motion?
Another vote, just all in favor part, probably.
I'm sorry. That's what I was starting to do.
Yes.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Could you raise your hands, because I'm having a hearing problem.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's okay.
All in favor?
We were all in favor. I want to make absolute sure.
Restate that motion, please.
Yes, please restate that motion.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Deborah, do you have it pretty much in?
Hey, that's on me.
That's not putting you on the spot or anything.
She has it written down.
Councilman Ingram made a motion to task the city manager to come back with a presentation and inform council on traveling and trailing, contacting other cities of our size to see what their budget is, and present on the presentation on the expenditures and a limit and a policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So now,
There's
one
no-
more time. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's
Opposed?
reasonable to see.
Okay, abstain?
I'm gonna oppose that one because I asked for an amendment that would be based on our city and the needs of our city versus just looking at another city that may not have the same needs as
Okay,
ours.
well,
as long
we
as they- as long as
we
they
can
don't
have,
the same
if you
thing, that's
want
right.
a motion for an amendment, we do it now.
Thank you. Yes, I'd like to make a motion to amend the motion, that this be based off of our needs of our city, not based off of another city that may not have the same needs that we have.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I got a
Yeah,
motion. Do I have a second for this amendment?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on this?
No.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Only no, because I want them both to be used as a measure.
Yeah. Okay, so,
We just said
I'm sorry.
Well, I thought you said to, okay, I'll pause like he did then. And I want to get clarification from Ms. James. Are we using both as a measure, other size, similar size, and our needs, or just our needs?
Both, we can use
Okay.
both. Thank
I'm
you.
in favor.
so everybody.
I thought you were Xing out the similar population size cities.
Just to
for
make sure,
our size,
because
that's
of the hearing aids running out here. All in favor?
I'm in.
Raise your, gentlemen,
Raise
just raise your hands, please.
Y'all,
Ma'am.
hey, y'all.
This is
Okay.
the amendment.
This is the amendment.
Okay.
And I'm into
got
it.
All right, we've got the
Yes.
amendment. Now,
Now we gotta talk to
We're gonna
Robbie
go-
and make sure he's okay.
we're going to go in, no, we're going to go into the motion, because we're finished the conversation. All right, so we have an amended motion.
Mayor Morrissey? Sir, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, but I actually have votes for each one, so I don't have any more motions. I have that you all voted, the first vote.
No, we were interrupted, and we didn't complete the vote.
Oh, okay,
So, so we have an amended motion, and we're ready to vote on the original motion that was interrupted. So,
Which original one? The one he made?
yeah, the one that she read.
We did vote.
Point of order, I think Robert's rules would require us to go back and cancel that first vote
It would.
and come back to the vote itself, the motion, start with a motion, go back to the discussion, and the discussion period is where we should have made the amendment,
Right.
so that the amendment becomes part of the motion once it's accepted.
We didn't finish the vote.
We didn't finish, but we were through discussion, and
If you didn't finish the discussion.
I wish the
you
lawyer
didn't
was here.
finish the discussion.
we did, we were voting, we were down to the last person
Can I make,
voting.
can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Go
Back
ahead.
out all of them.
If I'm not, I thought that the vote for the original motion, it was voted on and it got to Councilwoman James, who said she voted no and said why, and then talked about an amendment. Did that vote of no not
So
count?
that, to me, that didn't finish the vote.
Exactly.
But she still voted no. There was
See,
a vote,
But then,
and then there was a discussion after her vote.
I think what we're doing is not correct in accordance with Robert's rules. That's my opinion. I wish the
Well,
lawyer
if
was
that's, if that's the
here.
case, let's bring it back up and
We're not
vote
going
on
to get
it again.
anywhere with this.
all right, so.
If it's, I mean,
Mr., the only way to clear this up is to rescind both of the motions and do it again.
We already voted,
Yeah.
so we can't rescind it.
No, you can
Okay.
make a motion.
So where are you saying we are? I know where I think I
We would
am.
have to rescind it at the next
You know.
meeting. We can't rescind the vote if it's
I
already gone
concur.
through.
Yeah.
Madam Clerk,
Yes, sir.
I think you're
what
right.
are you saying?
I can tell you what I have, Mayor Morrissey.
You're saying the original
The original motion.
amended
Carries.
motion is in place?
Yeah, I have the initial motion.
All right.
I had, on the initial motion, sir, I had Mr. Rassi, Mr. Ingram, Mr. Connor, and Mr. Riley voting for, and I had Councilmember Jones and James oppose. Once that happened, the vote was done. You can't change it because they voted. Then we have the amendment by Councilmember James, which
So,
was to,
okay.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, so the amendment was.
Yeah, the amended motion.
Was not appropriate.
Yes, sir. It was everything in the original motion, except for going to other cities. It would be based on the city of St. Mary's needs. And then I had the for and opposed on that, and I have a vote for that. So I have both motions are done. That's what I have, because there was a vote taken on the amendment. Mr. Ingram moved for discussion, made a comment, and then he said he voted for it. So the motion was, both motions are done, sir.
Okay, so tell us what the city manager is going to deal with.
Yeah, so it was the original motion from Mr. Ingram regarding the city manager coming back with the presentation and doing research on the training, and instead of going to other cities and seeing on their research, it would be based on the needs of St. Mary's. That was the amended motion. Is that correct, Councilman James? It's based on the city of St. Mary's needs?
As well, it was both.
To include city.
To include, okay.
Okay, so.
And we're on B now.
That's good. Are we clear? Okay.
You have gray hair?
Welcome to Robert's Rules of Order, and an example of good discussion that can get a little convoluted. So that's what we do up here, is we discuss it, and I
There is a
think.
training for
Are we ready to move on?
It wouldn't help in this case.
There is a training.
All right.
Yeah, you're right. I want to.
I've been through a lot.
Get everybody to order, please, here. Okay. All right, it's item B. Ms. James, this has to do with update on the stormwater management plan.
Okay, so essentially, this is just asking for an update from the city manager regarding the stormwater plans, seeing that we had multiple issues with flooding in the city. And then, so that's item B.
Okay, just so I'm clear,
Whatever your update is.
okay, the stormwater master plan, or is that
No,
what
no,
we're
I
talking
didn't
about?
say master plan, no.
Are you
I'm
talking about
sorry.
the issues that we've recently
The
had?
issues that we've recently had, yes.
We've recently had.
Yes.
You want that now, or, I'm just trying.
Yes, sir.
My mind's soup sandwich, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, thank you.
We were at the situation with Colerain Oaks Trailer Park, or Mobile Home Park, pardon me. We were able to get the ditch cleaned. I don't believe we were able to clean out the culvert as of yet because the water hadn't dropped down low enough for us to be able to determine exactly what we have. But both ends of the culvert were cleaned, and water was moving accordingly. But we will get back and we will be checking those culverts. We are in the process of mowing the other ditches as soon as our arm mower, what's that? What? Sidearm mower is repaired. We've just like to grade all the amount of time that we're putting on them as they have to be repaired. So I don't know if that's where you wanted me to go.
I was just asking for your update. I mean, I didn't want it to go any place in particular.
Okay.
Just for the citizens that were asking where we stood with some of the issues that we had with the drainage ditches and the stormwater.
We do have some other issues and we're getting better. Some of our personnel issues are improving. That'll be a part of the manager's report this evening.
Okay. The update was for everybody, not just for me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. That's all right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anybody have any questions?
In defense of, I guess it would be Bobby Marr and the road department and Robbie, we've experienced about 16 or 17 days of rain. There isn't a city around it that's been having problems. As a matter of fact, I called the guy that I was supposed to have breakfast with, and he couldn't have breakfast because water was coming in his garage. And he lived in one of the nicest subdivisions there is. As far as mowing and as far as stormwater is concerned, this is just an act of nature, and it's just something that we'll have to deal with. Now, we do have to get a little bit better as far as cleaning our ditches and things up in, when I talked to Bobby and his crew about a week ago, we're in the process of maybe hiring some people to do nothing but clean ditches and mow grass. Am I right, Bobby?
Yes, sir. We're still here. We haven't gotten here yet, right? We're still on. We want to see it. We're on B.
Yeah. All right, who's next? Anybody else here on this?
No, she was just got an update. I think that's adequate.
We're able to move on?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
All right, so the next was a citywide landscaping and mowing update from Lisa?
Yeah, same thing, just
I
looking
think-
for an update from the city manager or Public Works, whomever.
Yeah. Bobby? Thank you.
Yes, we're actually looking, can you hear me? Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. We're actually looking at doing a few things in addition to the hiring the staff, like Robbie mentioned, that we have more, we had some start this past Wednesday, we got more starting this Wednesday. But we're also looking at getting some contracted prices to help with like Waterfront Park and say St. Mary's and Osborne streets, and then a street right away like Highway 40 from city limits down to Church Street. Try to look at some different alternatives so that we'll be able to bring it back to council and show hiring staff or the number of personnel we have versus contracted services for different areas of our right-of-ways. No two right-of-ways are exactly the same, and they vary width-wise. Some are curb gutters, some are ditches, some are four-lane highways, some are manicured or center medians. So that's the plan going forward, is to gather that info and then be able to bring it back to the council to present it. Yes, sir.
Bobby, how long do you think it will take to get that data from an outside vendor doing the culverts and the ditches and all that other stuff? Is that something we're looking at in the next month or next 2 months, 3 weeks, or what?
Okay, when you say doing ditches and culverts and stuff.
Stuff like, so we're talking about hiring somebody outside
No,
the city
sir.
of St. Mary's?
You're getting your subject matters confused.
Okay.
What we're talking about is contracting for mowing and edging, landscaping stuff.
Okay.
The ditches and all that is all public works.
Okay. Okay, so when do you think we'll have that implemented as far as the mowing side of it?
Okay, implemented it is gonna be up to y'all. It's gonna take a few weeks or so just to get the stuff back from contractors.
Right.
Be able to, not necessarily hard prices, but at least budget numbers to be able to bring to you to see if it's something you want to proceed with.
So
At that point,
if approved by city council, how far out are we from actually having these people on site doing that job?
It could be anywhere between 60 to 90 days.
Okay.
I mean, they may be able to roll in here tomorrow. We don't know. It all depends on what kind of equipment they got. If they're prepared to roll in, you know, it's going to take a sizable company to be able to do what we've discussed, just in general conversation. That's a whole nother part of it. We haven't even got into hearing what you as council and the citizens want in the manner of a scope of work.
Exactly.
I mean, we're mowing, okay, do we also want to do the landscaping that's involved? Do we also want to get into the hedging, trimming, and all the other stuff like we do at home? I don't know if we want to, and especially when you start talking about the kind of numbers that we're talking about here. And some of this will also be identified in the manager's report as well.
Well, I really appreciate what y'all do. Thank y'all so very much.
I have a couple of things on this subject. Before I get into my personal conversation. I had a citizen message me about 30 minutes ago that saw this on the agenda. They couldn't be here. Kevin Idle, Crooked River, asked me if I would read this during this discussion. Is this proper to read it? So, okay, it's my time. So, okay. Just Crooked River has told me to be stated. I respectfully request that the city quit treating the upkeep of our neighborhoods like the side of the highway. In my particular experience over the last 23 years as a resident of Crooked River Plantation, we only get mowing service, which we always get completed with half effort, when Charlie Smith Highway is cut. Weed eating, the right-of-way and ditches only happens periodically and has only happened 2 times this season. Would any council member allow this in their neighborhood? Residents of our community usually end up mowing themselves because of the constant inaction of the city. The pictures below are just examples of constant. There are some photos here. Obviously, y'all can't see those. Solutions are simple. If the city cannot perform and take care of their responsibilities, then contract it out, which we're obviously discussing. So I just told him I'd read it out loud, and there it is.
Call for a point of order. Okay, should have been read.
Are you finished, Mr. Ingram?
My personal thoughts on it. Yes, contractors might be a solution or a better city plan. We do need to, this has been going on way too long. When we were discussing the Exit 1 project and we were talking about wanting to keep the feel of St. Mary's, I got a joke that says that must mean they're going to spend the money on the beautification project and stop mowing, edging, and weed eating that too, so it feels like the rest of St. Mary's. It has been a long ongoing problem that does need fixed. I don't know if it is contractors or if it is something internal. If we do anything internal, I thought of maybe district leads where we have somebody responsible for certain areas of town where they're there 5 days a week and that's their area, but then they get a rover crew for Public Works to, do the hard, heavy mowing and stuff in their area, and then that crew rotates. I don't know, I'm sure y'all thought of these things, but we just have thoughts. We get Councilman Jones there just discussed employees. We've got to be able to hire and come up with some creative ways to do so. We had the same problem at our police department, and that got fixed, pretty quickly by one person. So, I mean, there are ways to get employees. We just have to figure that out and stop making that the excuse.
Okay. Anybody? Yes, sir.
I agree with Councilman Jones or Ingram because, and I keep thinking about the time that we were having problems on St. Mary's Road and Kings Bay Road, and for years we tried to take care of it ourselves, and it didn't work. And then all of a sudden we got contractors on those 2 areas, and what was eyesores are not eyesores anymore. And so if we need to help Bobby and his crew out by contracting out a couple areas that are in bad shape, really bad shape, we need to facilitate that.
Okay, Mr. Horton, did you want to say something? You look like.
No, sir. We're working on determining the scope. We're trying to get some ideas about what cost could possibly be. We will come back and we'll have something prepared for council very soon.
Well, and that'll include integrating the 5 people we were finally able to hire in the last couple of weeks. But I don't know if they are.
We'll have that conversation a little bit, sir, during our manager's report.
You hear this, I think you hear the tenor of the conversation is we probably need to take a new look at how we're going to be able to manage landscaping and mowing in the future, and maybe include something as surgical as what we had to do with the police department to be able to start building the force back. So I think you have a sense of that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I do have a comment on this as well. I think that we do need a course change, and that's what we're really talking about, because we're talking about now uplifting the way we've maintained the roads and yards in the city. And I think what we need is not just a presentation at some meeting with a number. We really need to have a in-depth work session where we have options to take a look at and what the different costs are and can discuss them and come up with the best decision as a council for the city, because it is necessary. I mean, we've got a beautiful city and we've got a big city. I disagree a little bit with Mr. Jones on that. We're one of the largest cities in the state, and we've always put in the large category because of the 20,000 plus residents that we have in the city. So we're bigger, and we need to make the whole city feel that their areas are being maintained like their neighbors down the road. So it can't just be one section of the city we do. So that's the type of plan that I think we ought to look at, and we shouldn't be looking at something that is just another Band-Aid we're going to try to put on this thing. And we're going to expect Robbie to either hire people to do it or try to find crew to do it. And neither one has worked particularly well in some cases in the past. So that's something that has to be approached correctly. So that's my recommendation. If we're going to do this, let's do it right and get the right attention on it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yep, that's what I would say. We absolutely need a course change, and I think the course change needs to result in a permanent solution, and I think that would be beneficial to our citizens as well as to, our Public Works Department. I think we don't do them any favors by not having a permanent plan, because, obviously they're the ones that are out there cutting it. So I think it's just as simple as that. We need a course change, we need a permanent plan, and whatever it is that we can do to help, I think that would be helpful.
So, Mr. Horton, I'd like to task you to bring back a citywide landscaping and mowing course change with recommendations from full implementation to and scale it to what looks like it needs to happen, and then have some cost, has some kind of cost numbers with it, and so that we can start the conversation in a little bit more detail. And we're not going to vote on this. I'm going to task you to do that if you could. And I think you're probably going to need a couple of months, so I'll just say if you bring it back by the beginning of November. And if it turns out you need more time based on that, then just let us know.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Duly noted. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to emergency plumbing repair for the new city hall. I think,
Yeah, you called that.
yeah, go ahead, Dave.
I wanted to take, and I don't know if we should just, let's do this one by itself. It's one that I had that question, I asked the city manager and others, and to make sure what we had here. And in this particular case, we've got a pipe that is pretty well damaged, needs replaced, and so that they can complete the plumbing. And when we keep in mind it's a sort of outline or put a picture up there. This is a probably close to 40-year-old building that was built, and this is an original thing.
At least
runs
40.
underground. Yeah, and it runs underground, not underground, but under the surface out there of the pipe or the floors. So, Robbie, with that, I sort of created the picture for you. So tell us why we had this kind of a
We've got a steel pipe that basically is our sewer pipe. As everybody in the room knows, hopefully, that when you put exposed steel and water, you're going to get rust. And with a 40-year-old pipe, we've developed a lot of rust. And as things, and trying to be nice here, you can certainly imagine, as things go down that pipeline and you've got rust pockets on the inside, it's going to grab it and collect it over the years to the point it starts enclosing on itself. Since the senior center's been there, we have had repeatedly backed up drains, and the backup drains go into our IT room at that location. Countless hours have been spent vacuuming the raw sewage out of the floor space. The plan is, and what you see before you tonight, Mayor and Council, is a plan to go in and, for lack of better terms, roto-rooter it, but they're actually scraping the sides of the pipe, descaling or whatever you want to call it, all the way the full length of the pipe. And then after that's done, going back in and putting a liner inside of that pipe for the whole run. It's like a poly something or other.
Epoxy resin.
Sir?
Epoxy resin.
Yeah,
coating.
it's a resin that goes back through the pipe. There is a 50-year warranty on that pipe after that point. I'm not going to be here in 50 years. My grandchildren can worry about it at that point.
Robbie, as we do this, are there any other utilities like that we might need to?
We're in the process of evaluating those lines as we speak.
Thank you. All right, any questions for the city manager here?
I do have one more. Will we get a comprehensive, if they're examining it again, will we receive a comprehensive report so that we can see?
If they do like they did originally, they'll provide a video.
It's pretty
And
good.
you can't get much
Okay.
more than that. You just don't want to see the video.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I don't really have a comment, but just, or I mean a question, but a comment, and that is that these repairs work well. I've seen them done both when I ran a base operating service contract on the base and also here in the city. We've used them for sewer lines down as part of our shrimp project, and they've worked well to gain us at 50 years. We need that, so thank you.
All
I
right.
make a motion, we approve.
Do we have any other questions before we move into the motion? Do you want to make?
I don't.
Who wants to make the motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
All right.
Second.
I have a motion to approve item D.
Second.
And second from Ms. James. Now, we can have further discussion if anybody is interested.
It's money well spent.
It's money that we got to
All right.
spend.
Seeing no further questions, and we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Madam Clerk, that's unanimous.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Did we, I think you may have said it already, Rob, is timeline on completion?
It's probably going to be in October, and just for public's benefit, Mike's still here? Yep. We are going to have to close the senior center for a week, basically, because it's an 8-day process.
Okay.
Once you get it relined, there is a curing time that has to happen with that epoxy.
Okay.
So, and we certainly want it to be right.
Right.
So it's sometime in October. The dates have not been set yet, but it will be scheduled as soon as this document is signed, sir.
Okay. All right, Madam Clerk, you got that as unanimous?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right, and Robbie, if you could stay. The next
I'll
item
go
is the
anywhere.
Senior Center Phase 2 renovation contract change order number 2. Relative, I think this had to do with the water supply, right?
Yes, sir. This is a request for change order. When the actual, and Bobby's still behind me, good. When this was originally done during the pre-mit, when the plans were submitted, there was a notation for field verification. And when they were doing the pre-bid walkthrough, and all the contractors that were in the room at the time were in that area and they were looking, they looked up because there's water lines ahead. They thought they all had identified the line, regardless of who the contractor was. This is the one that they were all going to go to. Only problem was that wasn't a water line, it was a fire sprinkler line. You cannot attach domestic water to a fire sprinkler line. It's against code violations. That was an error. But in order to get the water, it's got to come from the kitchen side to run all the way to that other side. That's what happened with that and the floor. Can you help me with the wall situation, please?
All right, back when it was Walmart,
big open box inside the store, columns everywhere. When Express Scripts came in, they come in and put some interior walls in where it benefited for them. Well, on the Express Scripts drawings that we were working off of, it showed those walls sitting on top of the subfloor, not extending all the way down to the concrete. So that's the way the project was set up. And in order to take a look at that, you got to pull up the floor tile and then take the subfloor up to be able to just look underneath the walls there. So the project was bid based on the walls sitting on top of that subfloor. Well, when we got into the demo or the construction side, found out it didn't, so now we got a gap underneath that subfloor, that 16, 18 inches, so that had to be made up.
Okay, comment.
All right, so, can I have a motion on this?
Do you want to do that before you ask questions?
And then we can go into discussion
Okay.
after the motion.
So moved.
Okay. All right, from
Second.
Mr. Rassi and a second from Mr. Riley. So now we can go into discussion on this, whoever
Okay.
wants to
Yeah,
ask.
I had a discussion point on this one. The reason I brought this up, the reason I sent the question is not because I didn't understand how you found it, but it's my understanding over a long history of doing this type work in the past is that when you get into change orders, you're really paying a lot of extra money. And at least on the water one, we should have identified what pipe was what in the RFP that we put out there so that they could understand it. And the drawings are important to reference, and you did reference them on the floor one. So it was tough to see that on a walkthrough. And I understand on a walkthrough, you don't, the contractors don't always get the chance to take a deeper look at some of these things. And certainly if we'd suspected that drawing was incorrect, we would have opened that so they could see that or said that at time. But I think we need to be careful that we not have these change orders coming up. We've had a lot of change orders coming up already on the building with some of these type things. So we need to look at them, in my mind, a little bit more carefully at drawings as well as what we should expose in the site visit so that people can give a reasonable bid. And that's my comment on this. So thank you.
All right.
I agree with Mr. Riley entirely. These change orders can break us, and I don't know whether how to do it. You know, whether you get the contractor to just eat it because he didn't catch it or what. But we need to put a hold on some of these change orders.
Okay. Anybody others got comments?
Yeah, I just just one comment. Change orders are price increases.
Exactly.
Yeah, we need to look at them like that.
And you might add that the price increases, and they're not at the same price as the original, it would have caught in the original package. When you do a change order, that whole cost increases by factor more than what would have been bid had they bid it in concert with the work that was being done. So that's my objection to change orders.
All right. Anybody else? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Madam Clerk, that's unanimous.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the detail, fellas, and this follows right into the next one, which is City Hall renovations project, and Mr. Horton, you all helped me understand what the process was in the pre-bid and then the bidding process for that. You want to go through that for us?
We put out RFPs, requests for proposals. It was put out, one, in the local newspaper. Two, it was also put on the Georgia procurement site. Was there somewhere else? Website. And the website. The Georgia procurement site is kind of a regional site for any contractors that have dual license, both in Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Alabama, all of our surrounding states. So that was put out. We had a pre-bid meeting. We had 3 contractors show up, 2 from the Atlanta area, 1 from Norcross, and 1 from somewhere around Atlanta. They were above Darien, so I'm not sure exactly. That was supposed to have been a joke. I know we're tired. Anyway, but we had the 3, and we had our local contractor that was on this particular thing, Coastal Construction. Bids were submitted. When we had the bid opening, there was only 1 bid that had submitted at the appropriate time. There were no other bids. This was it. So that was the process we went through, and this is where we're at.
Did the standard
Standard
pre-bid,
process that we've used.
and the bid
Yes.
review, which
And we had, let me back up. We did have 1 contractor show up on the Tuesday prior to bid opening out of Lake City, Florida, that had also seen it and just drove up here arbitrarily to do it, and we didn't hear anything from him either.
Okay.
So,
all right. Okay. So can I have a motion on this, and then we'll go into discussion?
So moved.
All right, Mr. Riley.
Second.
Second from Mr. Ingram. Okay, who would like to go first? Anybody?
Yeah, I asked that we discuss this just so that we could hear the process, and it's a pretty sound process, and we go through that with all of the RFPs, and when we have a single bid, and in any bid that awards contracts like this, we vote on them as a council, and therefore we're approving the acceptance of a single bid in the case when that's done. And if we have any objections, that would be the time as council that we could say, no, let's cancel that and go back out or something like that. And we've done that many times when we get no bids. Actually, the staff does that for us. This comes up and tells us. So.
Within the scope of work that has to be done, is this a reasonable fee, you feel?
Actually, below bid.
Below bid? Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Chad?
Just seeing the attendance list, I know we had city officials and some other locals that I don't know that would have been there to put a bid in. Is it 4 contractors that showed up that could have put a bid and we got 1? Is that what the number is? Or
yes.
4?
It's
not a mandatory pre-bid. So anybody was still, any contractor was still able to bid.
Without the attendance here.
But we had 3 show up at the pre-bid and then 1 came in after.
Okay. Do we feel that in any way, because we do, not that it's, that he does a bad job or, it's too expensive, but Coastal Construction does do a lot of our work. Do we go into these bids where other contractors, do we feel like that we may be just steering any business his way, or do they feel like it's already a shoe-in that he's going to get it, or do we have a fair process? I'm just putting this out.
And I totally understand.
I just want the discussion.
I understand.
Yeah.
When we started the project with the senior center, because we knew what was going on, we reached out to every local contractor that we'd ever even considered engaging, all residential, all commercial, and everybody. We wanted the best bang for our buck all the way around, and that's what we ended up with. So, I mean, we were proactive on that one. Plus, we put it in the Georgia procurement. Plus, we did the newspapers and everything else.
That's what I wanted. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Robbie, I'll be done in a second. But so Robbie and I have talked on and off for the last 3 years, and actually probably more intensely here lately as the build out in the Savannah area drew a lot of our contractors that we've used for others. I can think of a couple that help us at the waterfront in particular, and they were subsumed by all this economic development in Savannah, and it is gradually lightening up. lightening up. But I think many of you who have been here before, and as you heard here, we've gotten no bids on projects simply because there was no contractor availability, or we were not attractive enough, or we were too far away. So not to be satisfied that, oh, thank goodness we have a bid. We'll never do that, because we have the expertise to look at a bid and say, you know, even that's the only bid we have, it's beyond the realm of reason, and we're not going to accept it. And you take the risk of going back out, and will you get any kind of a bid back? Usually we're pretty successful in at least getting one or two to come back. So the landscape of contractors and the ability to attract contractors to even bid, I think, is easing up, but that's my opinion based on conversations with our staff here. But it still doesn't mean that we're going to accept something simply to be satisfied that we have a bid. We don't do that. So I guess this gets back to Mr. Maher and Mr. Horton are confident that the reasonable cost for this is something that you are satisfied is fair.
The budget estimate was 125.
Okay, all right. So, sorry, Artie.
Okay, no, I'm just, I'm totally happy with the bid and everything. I'm just concerned about change orders. Can there be something in the contract stipulating that there will be no change orders?
We can certainly look at it, sir.
Difficult.
But it has been made very clear.
Surprises, it's just going on.
I just had clarification. It's what's been made very clear?
That I didn't want any more change orders. Because I knew I'd be standing up here with this. You want me to be honest?
All right.
All right, well.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any more conversation, questions?
No.
All right, observations. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, Madam Clerk, I mark that as unanimous.
Yes, sir.
Council, we need to move on to the last item. Remember, item L has been withdrawn. So we have a fourth quarter town hall meeting and master plan update recommendation for October 3rd, but many of us are in travel and training. For Tuesday the 1st on a very important topic which you may have heard of, House Bill 581, which has implications on, is it FLOST? Are they still calling it
It's
FLOST?
a homestead exemption.
Homestead,
And,
yeah.
and it includes a floating local option sales tax,
Yeah.
yes.
Lost. I'm trying to keep them all straight. So anyhow, we are all we're going to Tifton, and we're all going in one vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe, if we fit in there.
And Robbie's
And the
driving.
city manager's driving. Okay, so I could get back on topic.
And that would be a hell of a ride.
The third is just a day or so after all that travel. I would make a suggestion that we maybe move this to the 10th of October. You want to look at your calendars, see if that's okay?
I don't know, do we have any forums or anything?
Robbie, how's your calendar there?
Yeah, I was going to say, sir, I believe that the 10th
I'm not
would
available.
not, yeah, I was going to say the 10th was, there's several meetings going on October the 10th.
That affect us?
Oh, no, we have, Councilmember Dell will be out at a meeting, and we have another meeting taking place at the same time in another building, but
What meeting is it?
it's the Gateway.
Okay, so that has some flexibility for some of us. Or we can go out to.
You said the 3rd will not work?
I just think that we should not have a meeting when we've just traveled.
Oh,
all
okay.
together.
On the 1st? Okay. You guys are traveling on the 1st?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's why, and so we can do it on, as I suggested, you do the 10th, you do the 17th, whatever works for all of us.
Looking.
Right now, there's nothing on the 17th.
Okay.
17th looks better for me.
17th?
Yes.
Okay.
What time?
I can do that.
What time?
It would be the 5 and 6, is that correct,
5
Mayor?
and 6. Yep.